Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our day trading setup sessions. We'll start doing these again each morning, probably somewhere between 8:15 and 8:30. And I just wanted to get back in here, even though it is an off day today. Markets are not going to be open, but a lot of news here with the whole tensions in Ukraine and stuff. So just wanted to take this chance to go through some of the markets today, kind of prep for the rest of the week, and take advantage of this little bit of downtime right now, and again, just get through some of this stuff again, get back into the swing of doing these things every morning. So don't forget to, if these sessions are helpful or if you like them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you get notifications when we put out additional content, and also do these live sessions as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it. This morning, always, start with looking at what's going on in the markets today. Flip over to Forex Factory like I usually do, and of course, as you can see here, not a whole lot going on because you do have this entry here, right, all day bank holiday for USD. Nothing else really big here. And then just a quick look for tomorrow, just see what's coming up. We do have just a couple of things in the morning there at 9:45 from the U.S. markets, and then of course tomorrow evening for New Zealand dollar, if any of you are trading Forex there. But that's it. So starting with dollar. Basic scenario here, right, is everything is kind of in limbo. We can see here right on the daily chart. Here we've got just a lot of back and forth over the past several days now, all trading within this spike up here. So not a whole lot to go on right now. And again, a lot of the things right now are just kind of a little bit in limbo based on what's going on with the Ukraine. We will see that the index markets, for the future sides, are a bit lower right now than they were prior to the weekend, and even late last night after the markets opened on Sunday. So again, not a whole lot that we're going to find here on the dollar, so not going to spend a whole lot of time there. Going over to the VIX, so this is volatility index. We've got some very significant spiking almost each day on this for the past couple of weeks, and that means really is it hasn't set up to really take advantage of it much, right? We're not creating any additional zones here or anything. So just kind of zooming in here on a 240-minute chart. This is about as low as I'll sometimes get down to a 60-minute chart on the VIX, but this really is just looking at some of the bigger moves. And you've got this area right here, right, that we did get a little bit of a reaction out of, but everything here that's moving is just, it's not going very far. And so, just again, not a whole lot to really go on here in order to help us make some informed decisions. Just back out of here then. Let's see. Again, just take a look at the 60-minute chart too. See if there's anything at all here that's going to be of interest to us. And yeah, just really it's not creating not that it's not responding to anything, it's just not even creating any real zones that you can take advantage of here. And looks like I've got that bug again on the windows here. So for our 60-minute chart, so we'll be just kind of bounce around if we look at any other additional 60-minute charts today. From here, so I'm going to take a look at the Euro USD again, just because it's a corollary for the dollar market there. And again, we're getting a whole lot of not anything really noticeable on the dollar. So you got the euros doing almost the same thing, right? It's still just trading in amongst itself, right? This is what we call white space here, this whole entire area. So you want to be very careful taking any longer term trades outside of here. Yeah, there's nothing really to pay attention to there. So let me jump down. It looks like we did get a hit off of this trade that we put up last week. So yep, came right up in there. Perfect placement for that entry right there, right? Price actually came all the way up to, let's see, 1.13946, and our entry was 13882. So good entry there, already hit the target. This happened overnight. So this trade here worked out very well. If any of you took that one, so we'll be adding that to our tracking sheet. You can see there in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, I've got the little performance graphic there that just shows overall, what our winning percentage is for trades that are published each day, and then also just a total value of the account. That change that every week just to track our overall weekly progress there. So yeah, so that zone responded to really well. So we should see, continuing down move on that. But again, we've got actually right back to the 30-minute chart. I want to take a look at this here. Yeah, you've got this picture perfect zone right in here. However, this whole move back up didn't take out the previous highs to the left, so therefore you wouldn't expect it to work, at least to any length there. So I'm not going to do anything with trying to get a trade in there. I'm just looking here just real quickly at some of these charts to see if anything pops out at me, and then we can go take a deeper look into it. But nothing is. Okay. So now just go back over to the index markets here, and I'm going to just show again kind of what my bigger look at the overall picture here has been. And I put this out I guess a few weeks ago now, right, where we I looked back at the last kind of major sell-offs, between the 2008 drop, and then the 2020 with COVID sell-off, and actually went back all the way to the 2001 .com bubble burst as well. And it was interesting to see the overall percentage drops, right, where you had 40%, and you had a 30% drop with COVID. And then, so what I did is I just drew this 20% drop after we got this significant negative divergence on RSI, and 20% drop really ends right where this line is here and drops right into a weekly demand zone. So it'll be really interesting to see, right? We had, price did come down, you saw all the way down, poked through the bottom part of our Bollinger Bands here on the weekly chart, and then bounced back up again for, 3 weeks actually, and now it's starting to come back down. So it'll be interesting to see if it does drop all the way down into this demand zone. All the way down here, or if it'll turn before then, right? But just a lot of times price movement does react to these cycles and these patterns, and so it's not unusual to see that continue on. So that's kind of what I'm setting up for, waiting on any real big buys back in to the market until it gets down to those areas. Looking here at our daily chart, so we're right in the middle overall of our context tool here, and as you can see, right, this back and forth here over those weeks, where we didn't really know if we were going to turn back here and continue up. Again, we still had that significant negative divergence on RSI, and so that's why I just kept holding those short positions. And really, we've got to come back down now, and we have to break. Draw this line right here. We've got to come back down and break this line, which means the candle actually has to close below this line. If it does, I 100% see that going all the way down to that weekly demand zone. If we don't get back down there and we just come back down to this area and don't break it, just put a wick down below here, then we can see this will probably change and move back up again. Looking just again, I'm going to look through the chart just see if anything really jumps out at me. We still have this area here on a 30-minute chart. That honestly, at this point, I might pull this trade off, because this was set up. If price comes back up here, based on us setting a new low down here, we're actually going to have a change of trend. So if trend actually changes here, we do not want to take a short position in an index market as a counter trend trade. So probably going to go ahead and just pull that one off. Right now, just looking through some of these other areas here, and not really anything jumping out at me right now. Let's see here. Nothing on a 15-minute chart. Let's see what I had here on this 5. Not sure why these lines are still here. Typically, I don't. Okay, yeah, so this is this one from a while ago. I was just monitoring, so I can pull that one off. And again, just, yeah, nothing really jumping out at me. And now we got the 5-minute chart bugged as well. Let's see. Okay, what is going on? Okay. Let's just get this reset. All right, switching over to NQ now. And so weekly chart for NQ, we did have set a couple of zones set up here, a while back. The first one obviously did not work. So I'm going to just go ahead and close that one out. But the second one obviously worked out very, very well. And even though it was a lot of risk, right? Take this in micros or even an options position as well. It worked, right? Price came right down into the zone, popped right up to the target area, and now it's coming back down again. So this is what I mean, we were talking about, on the ES prior as well, right? If we get down here and there's a negative divergence on RSI and it doesn't break that line down there, then that we could see that move back up. On a weekly chart, though, you will notice down here at the RSI, we're not seeing any negative divergence yet at all here. So that could be another key indicator to look for that bigger move down as well. But it'll be interesting, right, to see how price does in here, since it just came down and barely touched this and then shot right back up. So it means that there's a lot of buying orders down there still. All right, daily chart. So just gonna pop this open again. So here's our same line that we're going to would be looking to break right here. And we're coming very close to it. Could potentially see it drop below here. If it does drop below here right now, though, we are going to have negative divergence on a daily chart, which is a good indication that we'll get another move back up out of that area. So interesting. It'll be interesting to watch that as well. Just looking at some of these other charts here. Just want to see if I can find anything that jumps out. And I've got just really nothing here. So I'm not going to force any issues. And again, remember, all the main markets are closed today. Options or the futures market should shut down at either 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. I don't remember what hour it is. But then everything opens back up again at 6 p.m. tonight, Eastern time. So RTY has been the stronger of all of the markets, which is typically the case when the main indexes are falling. The Russell 2000 can be seen as a hedging for that, so that's not unusual. But it's got the same overall moves down as well, right? Just not quite to the same levels. And so we did see this line here when this one broke. We knew we were going to get that much bigger drop, and sure enough, that's what happened. And so now we've got another one, right? Now, interesting that this line here, right, is right on this previously used zone here too. So we've got a lot farther to go before we get down to that one. But again, no zones or anything to take there. And again, so just looking through all of these. Just, yeah. Obviously, we're in a significant downtrend right now on the lower time frame, so all the positions would be short. I'm just not seeing anything that I'm comfortable enough with actually taking. So move over to the Dow, and let's see, where are we at here with this? What line we're going to have to break here? So zoom in on this, right? So here's our line that we got to break here. We're a little bit further away from it. Then we are everywhere else. Now, interestingly enough, right on the Dow, if this, given where RSI is at right now, price comes all the way down below here, probably not going to have negative divergence there. So we may only have one of the index markets that will show us that negative divergence on the daily chart. If that happens, then I would not trust that at all on the ES and just expect that markets will continue to drop. So just again looking through all these. Yeah, nothing jumping out at me there either. So let's go over to crude oil. We did have a significant jump up on oil when it opened last night. Then it dropped again, which is interesting, right? Because we would expect that with continued tensions, and especially in Ukraine area, that oil would continue to rise. It typically happens when there's any type of conflict like that out there. Hi, Doug. Nice to see you on. Yes, I agree. We should be out on the ski slopes. I miss those weekends taking off and doing that. It's good stuff. Yeah, it's a very quiet day today, and we're just really prepping for the rest of the week and just trying to see if we can take advantage of anything right now, particularly with what's going on with Ukraine and all as well. Just understanding what the impact of that is on the markets. So oil, really, we've got this pullback now. Last night with that pretty significant drop down, and it's interesting, right? When I started trading oil a while back, a few years ago, we would be lucky to see a 30, 50, maybe a 70 cent per day change. Just pull up here on the 45-minute chart, right, and look at this. The moves, just in the last the move on Friday, 87 to, it closed at 91, so it's almost a $3 move in one day. And then last night, overnight trading, right, price drops from 91.75 to 89. So almost a $3 drop in the price in overnight trading. Just absolutely insane volatility now, but good. It's a good way to make money more quickly that way. So we're back into the range, especially in the lower time frames for oil. And again, just kind of looking through here and seeing if anything is jumping out at me. And I will say that for the most part, even the index funds and in particular oil, I've found much more success trading share bar charts than time charts over the past few months. So we'll make sure we get into those as well. So moving over to the euro, we already looked at the euro USD, and we saw we hit that 30-minute zone there. That trade worked out perfectly. We didn't have the same setup on the futures, so nothing to see there. I would continue to expect that this would keep dropping, especially in times of conflict like this, right? The dollar usually does rise, which then means the euro is going to drop. And the since this conflict does impact the European Union significantly, I would say that there's additional weight to that happening as well. Yeah, nothing really here on the euro. And gold. So same thing. Remember, gold is a good hedging option as well. So anytime that there's conflict in the world, gold typically tends to go up. That's what you can see has been happening now. And honestly, I think my next, I've got a couple of, I don't have anything on gold. Sorry, I'm going to change the colors on these things. So we've we've got a couple of areas up here where we could see price changing out, but I mean nothing. This is, you know, still quite a ways away. Let me just zoom in on a couple of these here, right? So we've got a used line already at 1915 to 1931, and then nothing fresh until all the way up to 1946. So we get another, you know, $40–50 rise in gold, and there's something we might be able to look into. And if you combine that with any de-escalation of tensions over there, that would be a good place to maybe get into one of those longer positions short on gold. Let's see if there's anywhere else where we could potentially get back in, moving this up again. And for any of you that have followed me at any length of the past few months, you know that I am not good at trading gold, so I openly admit that. I'm still trying to figure that one out. So I typically tend to look for only really good zones then. Yeah, I'm just not seeing anything here that is worth trying to take advantage of. Moving on to Japanese yen. Let's see here, just continuing to move up. I'm just going to see if anything jumps out at me, then I'll open that chart up, zoom in on it, and we'll take a closer look. Nope, nothing there. Natural gas, I think we had our 240-minute, yep, our 240-minute trade here on natural gas has now worked out very well. We hit our target on that last night. Let me just zoom in here so you can see that. So overall, we had really good performance on our trades from last week. I think we had like about 75% of them hit. So our performance numbers will go up quite a bit. So you see here, right, price came into this top zone and then just really exploded up out of there, and you can see it's continuing up even more now. But yeah, so very good result there on natural gas. Since this one has now gone the full length and even broken past this upper point here, the bottom trade now comes off. We would not be looking to take it if price comes back down in this area. It's highly likely to just drop straight through that. Yeah, I'm just keeping track of some of my other dashboards off to my left here, and you see oil is jumping back up again, and the index funds have all taken a little bit of a dive as well, which probably means there's other issues with the dialogue there with Ukraine today. All right, so let's see if we can maybe find another place to get back in on this bigger move up here on natural gas, and just looking through the charts here, we've got. Yeah, actually got a potentially reasonable one on the 60-minute here. This one out, we'll go ahead and mark this one up for us. Let's see here. So we've got natural gas futures. And this is a 60-minute long, and entry is 4.631. Stop is 4.598, and just forget to do that before I start typing in there. Let's see, go with a 4 target. Target is 4.76 for that one. So that's should be able to get back in on this bigger move up right here. It's pretty good looking zone overall. And let's back here so I can work through that bug in the charts. That'll be good for natural gas. Let's go to Nikkei futures. The Japanese markets are open, or were open. So we should be able to see some good movement here. We still holding on to this trade as an option. So I put this one in a couple of weeks ago, actually almost a month ago now, I think. But we haven't changed. A trend on this yet, so I think this one is still valid. So if price does come back up in here, you may not see the full move back down for like a longer holding time frame trade, but yeah, I think this one will still work for us. And I think we also thought I had another shorter or smaller time frame. Yeah, we do. So we have a 45-minute one as well. It's still up here. This one, though, yeah, this one will have to pull off. So I don't think we actually triggered this one. Yeah, we did not trigger this trade here. But the trend would definitely have to change. By the time price gets back up to that area, we would be back in an uptrend, and you don't want to go short on a counter trend trade. So I was looking for any other areas to continue to get short in here on a smaller time frame, and just nothing is jumping out at me. Again, definitely don't force trades. Right? I want to make sure that we are very careful about them. So we've got so this is our bonds. And again, this is very typical. Bonds, again, our indexes drop, bonds usually go up. So we do have this trade here. I'll just kind of drag this one all over. You can see, right, this zone here was created back in May of 2019. And it's working out pretty well right now. I did not set this one up as a trade. Typically speaking, trades that far out are just less likely to work, so I don't usually do them. They also have significantly high, very, very high risk margins as well, and so you need a pretty decent sized account to really take advantage of those. But that area is working out very well, and I would expect price to continue up from here for some time. So I would not, even though we are in a larger time frame downtrend, I wouldn't look to short this anytime soon. And so just looking at smaller time frames to maybe get back on board on this and take advantage of this move up, but you're not really seeing anything that I'm interested in, honestly. Yeah, so I think let's jump over to the US. This is 30-year bonds, and let's see if we got anything here. Again, longer or higher time frame. We're still in downtrend, but we've got this very strong move up right now. So you could get down on like a 15 or a 30-minute trade, continuing to take this up. But I am not seeing anything that meets my criteria for taking this at this point. All right, let's a few more minutes here. So I'm just going to go through some of these other futures. These are markets that I don't trade all the time, so I just quickly look through them to see if something jumps out at me. That was Australian dollar. Now we've got British pound, and so just to kind of show a little bit of, this is just a good way to explain some of the stuff that I look for when I'm looking for these areas. And so if I'm just looking here from going down here, you've got a really good picture perfect zone, right? You've got this zone here, and you had this one right here as well, right? So you got two zones on top of each other. Both of these candles are about the same size. So your entry would have been down here somewhere, probably right around this line here, which means you would have gotten in on it. However, when you're looking up and left, you see that the price here did not take out this previous pivot high, which means this. So my rules are, if it doesn't take out this pivot high, you don't take this trade. You did see you got a bounce out of it, but you're probably not going to get a full move. So just a little, some context of, what some of the things I'm looking for and how I evaluate whether a zone structure is worth taking or not. You got to look at overall context as well there. Let's see here. All right, let's go to Canadian dollar. This is just bouncing back and forth between a couple of areas of support and resistance on a daily chart. So you really would want price to get outside of those areas before you jump into a trade here. And again, I don't see anything there that's worth taking. Copper futures have had, I've got a little bit of cleanup to do here on some of these charts, but we've had a few of these that have not gone our way recently, and so I'm just trying to be a little bit more careful with copper as well. Make sure that we find really good solid zones to trade here. Let's see. Overall, looks like we are leaning towards a slight uptrend. And so looking for long positions, and just again nothing jumping out at me. Got platinum. Platinum usually works in close conjunction with silver and with gold as well. So you can sometimes use those as correlation markets. So platinum right now is still moving up pretty significantly, and so looking for other long positions to get in, and yeah, there isn't anything there. Swiss franc, pretty nice little move up right now. So we'll be looking for additional long positions here. Again, if I see something that jumps out at me, we'll jump into the charts and zoom in on it and take a deeper look, but nothing there. Looking at silver. So silver's got an interesting look here in the 45-minute chart. I'll zoom in on. So it's not completely clean, but you do have a picture perfect zone here. And so I've got this zone right here with a couple of leg candles out, and then we've got the bottom part of it down here. This is probably one where I would actually look to take both trades, because I'm not sure which one of those is going to work out best. If we do look up and left, we do see we took out the previous pivot high over here, and so yeah, it's put these ones in here. And I'll come back and label those, and then we'll get those posted too as part of our trades that we could be looking to take today. Honestly, probably this would be more like one that would hit tomorrow or the next day, just because of the lower volumes of trades today. We've got silver. I want to take a look at a couple of our index markets here. So this is GLD. So this is the gold index fund, and really looking on this one, not so much to see how to get back in on this one, right? I use my index funds for much longer term trades, usually do options positions in them, and so it looks like we've got a good alignment up here on our daily chart where we do with the gold futures. Again, that's a really good indication that these are solid zones here. So if I've got price coming up into these areas, and gold futures does as well, this will be where I'll get in, put a short position, on an option there, maybe longer term put or something like that. And then I usually always take a look at TLT. So this is our bonds, right? This is the 20-year bonds. We looked at 10 and 30 on our in the futures areas. And so again, bigger move down right now. So you'd be looking to take advantage of another, getting back in on this move down. I'm looking through these charts to see if anything is jumping out at me, and unfortunately, it is not. So nothing really here to take advantage of. Let's take a look at our share bar charts here, and so we've got. Oh, that's why. Why this chart's looked a little bit. I don't know. I pulled up the micros for oil instead of the actual oil itself. CLJ22. So let's go contract specific for crude oil. That looks a little bit better. Okay. And remember, we are still in an overall uptrend here, so you really wouldn't want to be shorting oil right now. You want to be getting back in on long positions for it. And so just looking through any of these and seeing if we can get something that will work for us. And I'm just a little bit of an area here on the 300 share bar chart, right? This is obviously these, just to put it into context, the difference between a share bar chart and a time chart, right? These things, 300 shares traded, depending on the size of the order, right? You can get through a couple of these bars, in one single trade from, if you got a big enough account that you're trading here. And so just as an example, right, some of these bars, they'll close in, 1 minute or less. You got here 2 minutes on this one, 44 seconds for that bar to close. So, but let's look overall context, right? You do have a nice little zone right here. You look left, it's taken out these areas here. So as long as price doesn't move up and then change trend, something like this would be a pretty good shot here. Right, actually drop my entries for oil. Like on share bar charts, I usually drop them a couple of points into the zone, and then I always go at least 3 ticks below the lowest wick here. So this one low, it closed at 51, so I would drop my stop down to 48 here. So it's a 59 to 48 entry. Here, this one probably a pretty good one to pick up just a small trade on. Actually, might hit right now. Now as I'm looking at some of my other dashboards, I do see that we've got an overall fairly bigger uptrend, and our line for where that one's going to end at is actually probably closer down to the 90.42 area. So you may not, this one right here might just be a bounce from it, might not be end up being a full trade. So interesting to watch this and see what happens. Yeah, Doug. So yeah, share bars. It tracks the number of shares traded. So you got a couple of ways you can look at this. Obviously, the first one is time charts. You can also look at what they call tick charts, which is the number of trades that are placed. And so it creates the candles based on, like I said, total number of trades, regardless of the size of the trade. And then you have the share bar charts, which tracks the total number of shares, irregardless of how many trades it took to make them. And so every candle here is 300 shares traded. And again, you could if you could have if you have 300 people trading one share, it would take 300 individual trades to fill one of those bars up. Or if you have some big company out there that has one trade at 300, shares, there are 300 contracts, right? Then that would be, they would make a single candle just by that one single trade there. So you can see, right, price did come down and hit this area, and now we're back up to a 1-to-1 right now. So half the trade comes off, and now it's a free trade moving back up again. And that's our 9103 here is the target for this one. Honestly, just because of the way that the price movement looks on a 15-minute chart, I think we might get another drop on this one down to a little bit lower and then go back up again. But again, I don't see any good solid zones underneath that to take advantage of that. I mean, you could potentially do it. I mean, you can kind of see this trend line right here, right, that you're working from, right? So it's all actually, you know, yeah. So yeah, honestly, I mean, this trend line right here actually does intersect with this zone. So well, this one could actually hold on. Let's see here, just a couple more minutes. I'm going to go through our ES and then NQ ones as well. So this is a share bar for ES, S&P 500 futures. Again, would be looking for short positions, and as I'm looking through here, kind of get very picky on the index funds, right? It's got to be a picture perfect zone for me, and then it's got to follow those other rules, right, of taking out that next pivot high or low, depending on what it is. This one would be a pivot low. No, Doug, it would actually make multiple candles. Yeah. Each segment of 300 would make its own candles. If you go down and it's interesting to watch. Like especially like for oil, you can see this happen every day at the 9 o'clock pit open. Go down and watch something like I've got a 100. Let me just change this here. CLJ 22. Oops. No. So I've got one set up here for a 100 share bar chart. So actually I can just show you real quick on this. So 100 shares right at the open at 9 o'clock, and so this candle was created in 12 seconds. This one was in 13 seconds. This one was in 8 seconds. And so these candles get created very, very fast. Now, typically speaking, oil doesn't trade in massive quantities like that at a time. And honestly, I'm not 100% sure why. But I mean, I can go look at one of my other depth of market charts and see, like right now, I actually do have, look, there's as high as 130 contracts sitting at one price point right now. But what will usually happen is that they won't be all filled at that price point. It'll go above or below that before all of those contracts are filled. So you'll rarely ever see, more than a few contracts filled at a specific, penny amount at the same time. It's just, especially now with oil being as volatile as it is, you'll get, very rarely. I mean, I've even had trades as low as like 10 contracts that wouldn't fill at the same price point, just because it is so volatile right now. All right, so I'm going to jump back over to our ES. Yes, you really can watch them, absolutely. Yeah, and when they do that, they create some really, really very specific zones. Yeah, it works out really, really well. So yeah, so nothing really on ES here. Let me just jump over to NQ. See if I see any good zones to take there. And I'm just looking here. Trying to see if I've got any of those good picture perfect zone setups. And unfortunately at this point there isn't, which is not unusual for a day like today where the normal markets aren't open. I typically speaking do not trade those days at all, just because they're just more risk. It's more speculation because the futures markets are based on the actual markets themselves being open, and since they're not open, it really is just people feeling out, trying to figure out where the price is going to be when they open. So I think that's it for today. We've got a couple of good trades in there. Again, I'll make sure and get those posted as a separate video, so easily referenceable in a much smaller format. And again, if you have any questions or comments, just let me know. We'll get back to doing these live sessions every day moving forward. So again, give you a chance to come in and poke and prod at things, and again, ask questions, learn more about this. And obviously, feel free to leave comments. We will all respond to all of those as well. Again, remember, markets are closed today. Futures markets will shut down in the afternoon and open back up again at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. And again, keep in mind that we do have the situation in the Ukraine that will be driving some of the behavior as well. So just keep that in mind and trade safe.